My name is Addison. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I was born and raised there. I spent a year in Spain where I met Haley for my senior year of high school, and now I go to Sarah Lawrence College studying philosophy in New York.
So, obviously when we met, there were some struggles going on in your life.
Yeah.
So can you say, what were some of the struggles and challenges you were dealing with before, you and I met?
I think I was really struggling with school, but not necessarily the schoolwork, more like motivation around school. Mm-hmm. And I also, even before we met, before I went to Spain, I was struggling a lot with like severe anxiety and a lot of conflict with my parents. I was really depressed, really anxious. I was like, before I met you, I was really recently diagnosed with autism, so trying to figure all that shit out too. I was just having a lot of internal and external conflicts with me and the people around me, and it was just kind of a miserable life. I didn't enjoy.
How were your friendships going kind of during that time period when you were diagnosed and going to Spain and spending your senior year of high school there?
I have very few friendships. I have always been like someone who's really in my shell and stays in my shell. And so like back home in Minnesota, I had maybe like 2 or 3 really good friends, and then in Spain I only had like 1 really good friend. But honestly now, after like living with, are we talking about friendships then or now?
Then, yeah.
Then? Oh, friendships then, yeah. I think that it was just really hard for me to find the right kind of people that I wanted to be around, and trying to figure out who I was and who I wanted to be with. And yeah, I just didn't really talk to people. Just wasn't something that I wanted to do. So I was very much on my own.
What led your parents to decide to send you to Spain, or what were kind of the other options they were looking at before for your senior year? Yeah.
My parents wanted me to do my senior year of high school in Spain because I was expelled from my Catholic high school in Minnesota. I was expelled from there, and I was also expelled from this, well, not expelled, but asked to leave this other like semester school, which was like outdoorsy. That one was for like mental health reasons, and then the Catholic school was for like behavior and like substances. And my parents, I think that they just didn't know what to do anymore, and they just didn't know how to help me, and how, like, they just were really scared. And so they got an educational consultant, and they were looking at a lot of wilderness or residential, or therapeutic boarding schools. And then the summer before my senior year, they're like, we're gonna send you to a gap year program in between, because like they didn't want me at home. And so I went there, and then those people actually found the high school for me, and they were like, hey, she's actually doing it well. I don't think she needs to go there. And so then, yeah, but basically they didn't know what to do with me anymore.
Yeah, and then right before I got to Spain, what had happened?
So basically I met Haley because I in that gap year program in Spain, I got kicked out of it. Yes.
But you had to finish high school.
I did get to finish high school. I finished high school still. I graduated. I'm in college now. So things really did work out. It just wasn't the most straightforward path.
Right. Well, so then, obviously I get there. I don't normally live with the people I coach,
Yeah.
But that was kind of a unique experience. But what kind of made working with me and just with Not Therapy in general different than, the support you had received in the past, either through therapy or Spain abroad? What felt different to you?
Working with not therapy has been a lot different than my past experiences with therapy and the Spain Abroad program. Oh, am I allowed to name drop?
It's fine.
The Spain Abroad program, because with therapy, like, obviously you don't really know you don't know much about your therapist. You're the one always sharing with them. They don't really share what's going on in their life with you, which is like an ethics code or whatever. So obviously, like that's fine. But and then with the Spain Abroad program, it was just I just outgrew it. It's a program that I think is really good for you to do for a couple weeks, but if you're there for more than like 6 months, you're gonna go insane, basically. And so working with Haley has been a lot different because I know who she is. We're like friends. I think of you more as like a friend, like an older sister and friend than like an authority, like, you know. And yeah, I think that it's just effective because she spends a lot of time with me and trying to understand who I am and meeting me halfway and figuring out what works for me and she really, really understands that you're not perfect and there's like no judgment, which is like just so nice.
Was there anything that I guess really surprised you about us working together?
What surprised me about working with Not Therapy was, well, when I first started working with Haley, she had to come, it was right after I got kicked out of the Spain Abroad program, and so they were like, basically, either we're sending you back home and you're not going to be able to finish high school, or you can have one of your parents move out and live with you. No. Or you can have a life coach come out and live with you. So I was like, yeah, I'll have Haley come in. So I really didn't know what was going to happen, but wait, what was the question again?
It was what surprised you?
Oh, what surprised me? Yeah, what surprised me was having someone who really, there was really no judgment. And what really surprised me the most was how comfortable I felt, I think, and how willing she made me to actually like do things to help myself.
What were some of the biggest shifts or changes you experienced? I mean, now we've been working together for a year. So what are the biggest shifts or changes you've experienced for yourself in this last year?
The biggest changes I've experienced while working with Not Therapy has been I'm just a lot more outgoing. I'm a lot more, I wouldn't say I'm more bubbly than I was, but I'm more personable. I'm less anxious around new people. I feel like after working with Haley and just seeing like how she is, I don't know, it just made me feel like there's really, like I've just been so anxious and there's really not a reason to be. Like the biggest change that I've seen has definitely been with my social life and my how comfortable I am with myself and how that projects onto seeing and meeting other people.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about even specifically what that first week at Sarah Lawrence looked like for you?
Okay, first week was good.
Yeah.
So my first week going to Sarah Lawrence was actually a really, really good experience. The first morning I didn't know anyone, so I woke up at 8, was walking around campus empty. It was so empty, but then it was welcome week stuff, and I actually introduced myself to these girls, and I became really good friends with them, and I felt like I was in a place where I belonged. And a year or two ago I would have never been able to just go out and talk to these people and have a group like that, especially in 2 days.
I know, I was so proud of you for that. That was amazing. Let's talk about, maybe can you talk a little bit about how you navigated then that experience kind of with those first friends that didn't go that well, and how you really took yourself through that?
I think, so I had a really big conflict with those same friends, and how I kind of got through that, I just felt very confident in myself and safe and secure with myself, and I trusted myself. And so I felt that, yeah, I just trusted my intuition. And I was calling Haley like a lot. I was like, oh my God, you never believe what happened. And she was like a really, really good fourth because she just kind of helped me. She was like she like helped reassure me that I was doing the right thing for myself. And it's nice to have someone else who you trust and who you trust, who is saying that you're not crazy and you're doing the right thing. So yeah, I just kind of got through it by really focusing on myself and trusting myself.
How has your relationship with your parents changed over the
Oh my
last
God.
year? And like maybe speak a little bit to how like I've kind of specifically helped with that.
My relationship with my parents has gotten so much better in the past year. Obviously, when they sent me to Spain, they were like, we don't know what to do with this girl anymore. Like, they were basically like, oh, we don't even know if we can help her anymore. But then, especially when Haley came into the picture, there was someone who I trusted and who they trusted, and she was able to communicate with them and be like, hey, Addie's actually doing really well. You guys are freaking out. Like, I need you guys to calm down. Like, she does really good at speaking with parents and reassuring them that their child is not going insane. Reassuring them that their child is, in fact, okay, and they're doing what they need to do. And she's good at kind of making sure that they're in the right, that they just know what's going on and that parents know that their kids are doing all right. And I think that having her and having someone who my parents trust, like vouch for me almost, it makes them have a lot more trust in me. And yeah, our relationship has just gotten so much better. And part of that is just how I've started showing up differently in the past year too.
What would you say to someone like either someone your age or a parent who is maybe looking at not therapy and unsure if they, if this is the right fit for them? What would you kind of say to them about working with us?
If you're on the fence about working with not therapy, I would say, I can't be a person saying not therapy is going to work for you, not therapy won't work for you, because I do think that it won't work for everyone, but I do think that it works for a lot of kids who want to get better. I say that if you're on the fence about not therapy, you have to look at yourself and think, what am I willing to do? And what kind of work do I want to do? And what results do I want to see? And if the answers are like, I'm willing to put in the work to improve my relationships, get my life together, all of these things. Because you are going to, like, Haley and Colin, like, they make you actually work. They make you put in work. But I would say that, like, if you're on the fence about it, for me at least, it's been an amazing experience. And it's just so nice having someone there who makes you not feel like you're going crazy, and someone who you can, like, not, like, kind of look up to, but someone who still feels like a real relationship is there.
Okay, last question.
Yes.
So maybe can you rattle off like the things that you've like done or accomplished, because a lot of parents want like the outcomes.
Oh,
like,
okay.
So for example, the like
I'll
graduating
say
high school,
volunteering.
summer job, yeah.
Okay.
And then at the end, what you're excited about kind of for the future, like the next few months.
Yeah. The things that I've done since working with Not Therapy, I graduated high school on the honor roll. I did 25 hours of volunteering. I had a summer job as a day camp counselor. I got into Sarah Lawrence, my school, number one school. I started attending Sarah Lawrence and completed the first semester successfully. I have my own job while I have another job that I do while I'm in school. And And I really genuinely feel like I've grown a lot as a person in my trust and confidence with myself. And in the future, in the next couple of months, I am hopefully going to stay in New York and get an internship. And we're working on internship and budgeting. I need to work on my budgeting in the next few months. Yeah.